Hey everybody, we're going to do a quick tutorial today on making a 4-loop bow to trim an 18th century cap. This is a custom cap that I'm working on for somebody right now, and the client requested this gorgeous rose silk taffeta, or silk satin ribbon for a 4-loop bow to help trim the cap, so that's what we're going to work on today. So the ribbon that I'm using is about 1.5 inches wide. This is a double-faced silk satin, so it's got that nice shiny silky smooth finish on both sides. So what I did was to start with a piece that was a little over 4 inches, double that, so make it 8 inches. You want the finished bow is going to be about 4 inches. So the width of your bow is going to kind of be determined by the width of your fabric or silk ribbon if that's what you're using for your trim. So I started off by seaming the two raw edges together, and then the next step is going to be doing a series of running stitches down the center of the ribbon, and it's going to get gathered up into a little piece that will look like this. That's the back side and the front side. You're basically making two of these little guys so that they lay across one another to form that 4-loop bow. So as I said, I've already seamed the ribbon together, and I'm going to just adjust this a little bit. I want to make sure that I am going to do my running stitches down the very center of the ribbon. So a good trick, if after you have seamed your ribbon together, you can actually leave your thread still attached and use that same thread to go and do your running stitches. So let's go ahead and do that. Now these stitches don't need to be super big. I'm doing these about 1/4 inch apart. Pretty rough estimate there. All right, turn this around. Okay, so I've got my running stitches, just a couple, that's all you really need. And then you're going to gently pull that thread to gather up your ribbon. So now I got two of these little guys. So I need to secure this thread before I move on to the next step. So I'm just going to take a stitch there at the end. Come on, focus there, camera. Do another stitch. Okay, so that's secure. And then you can kind of adjust your ribbon a little bit there. Make sure the gathers look nice and neat. And then you're going to take your two little loopies here, and you're going to lay one over the top. You can kind of take a look, see which one looks better to you. They should come out roughly the same, but sometimes a gathering will look a little nicer on one than it does on the other. So I actually like the way that this first one turned out a little bit better. So this is the one that's going to be on top. So I'll go ahead and lay those one on top of the other. So you can do them in a perfect T cross shape like this. You can offset them just a little bit if you want to give it a little bit more character. I think that looks good just like that. So you can hold it with your fingers, or you can use a couple of pins to pin it. Because this is a silk satin ribbon, I want to try to avoid putting pins in it if I can, just because it is a little bit prone to snagging. So with my thread still attached to the back, I am going to take a stitch through, you see my needle there, through both of these sections of ribbon. And go back down through. You want to try to kind of bury your stitches in between the gathers so they're not super noticeable, but don't worry too much about hiding your stitches. Back side. Whoops, and there goes my phone. Sorry about that, guys. Come on, phone, stay. Oh, it's not going to want to cooperate. All right. We're going to do just one or two more stitches, I think, just to hold this together. All right. And if you're happy with the way that it looks, you can go ahead and finish your thread off on the back side. I like to take an additional stitch and then actually put my thread back through, my needle back through that little loop. Just creates a little locking stitch to hold it all in place. Little trick I picked up from my mom when I learned to sew as a kid. So there we go. There's a simple little 4-loop bow. This is going to be placed on the top center of the cap that I'm working on. Let me see if I can get this in the shot for you. So this is the spring cap, and that's going to sit right on top there in the center. Sorry, it's not totally in frame. And then the remainder of the cap is actually going to be trimmed with the same ribbon that's going to go across the brim, and that's going to get gathered up into a series of ribbon poofs that will go along the top edge of the cap. So there we go. Hopefully that was easy to follow. Feel free to reach out if you have any suggestions for additional videos, other little tips, tricks that you would like to see for trimming your 18th century cap. Thanks, everyone.